Any ideas what industry generates the most revenue right now? Is it movies, music, or gaming?
Gaming by far.
Oh man, you guys are smart. So
I'm sorry.
it more than doubles up the combination of music and box office, which I mean, I don't know about you guys, it blows my mind because everyone listens to music. I feel like everyone watches movies. I don't know that like a good amount of people do play video games, but not as many as consuming movies and music. And I think the real driver behind this is that the music industry's business model is just terrible. I mean, streaming is not sustainable moving forward. If we look at the history of music revenues over time, it peaked back when they had compact discs. And there were physical objects that people could buy. I mean, even though we're seeing somewhat of a resurgence right now, a lot of that is driven by vinyls are becoming more and more popular these days. I mean, people like to own and have things. They don't, you know, there's not as much profit in just consuming. People like that ownership and to show their friends and to tell people. I mean, when we contrast that with the video game industry, which has been phenomenal in how they've been monetizing things better, there's been a massive growth in especially looking at Fortnite and Call of Duty, all these different video game platforms. They're releasing things that people like to own. People love spending money on skins and different guns that they can own and you know, things they can show off to their friends online. You know, a lot of us have been researching decentralized video game companies, and it's the same play to earn. They have better business models that reward people investing time in it compared to the music and the movie industry right now. Any other thoughts on how there's that differential?
I think that's why there's a big market now for Web3 or for the blockchain companies in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what there are if already a few companies that do it. I think there are a lot of rising companies that try to be the new Spotify, but have more also equal pay for the music producers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Things can be far more equitable than they are right now. And in fact, I'm going to go back to this. Of this tiny music revenue, what percent do we think actually goes to musicians right now?
5%. Yeah. So,
any other guesses?
I said below 5.
Yeah,
15 to 30, 15 to 20 or something.
So I've seen some different argues. Most of them are around 12%, and oftentimes less. That number is actually skewed a lot because there's bigger artists that have leverage. Say The Weeknd, he might be able to negotiate 50% or 60% of his revenues, but a smaller independent musician might be at the mercy of these record labels and sign on for 2% or 5% royalties. So they really, it's a predatory industry right now, and it has a lot of potential to change in the future. A company called Royal has the mission statement they want to invest in artists and you can actually own your favorite music. And they go over royalties very, very well. Some of the key features and benefits: Royal redefines music ownership by enabling anyone to invest in music as an asset class and own rights in songs. Artists can release songs as limited NFT drops on the platform. They're currently minted on Ethereum and Polygon, and right now they're pursuing other side chains as well as layer 2 solutions to keep transaction prices low if they can. So the big contrast is a typical music NFT manifests itself as a digital collectible purely to support artists. So if I were to buy an album art of something on OpenSea, it'd be something I could show off on Twitter or on Discord, and it's cool. I'm happy to support an artist, but it doesn't really have any utility. Royal's limited digital assets, LDAs, are NFTs that give fans real ownership in music rights, and these NFT drops represent royalty ownership. So we'll get into that a little bit. Just to go over again how it works, the artists use Royal to sell royalty ownership in their songs and give collectors access to special perks. Collectors can buy royalty ownership in songs directly from their favorite artists in the form of these tokens on the platform. And when that happens, both of them can rise because collectors claim royalties for music after they've accrued, and artists grow because when you've bought the royalty to a song, I think you might tell some of your friends, hey, check out this artist that I was listening to. You know, I remember 4 years ago, I don't know if anyone here listens to Brockhampton, but I found them, I was like one of the first 10,000 people listening to them on Spotify, and I was like, man, they're gonna blow up, I just know it. if only there was a way I could have invested in them back then and purchased maybe the royalty to one of their first songs or an album drop that I was really excited about, we both could have thrived financially as a result of it. So that's something I think about moving forward. Has anyone here heard of Tritonal? Are they any good?
They're so good. I have this like one of my favorite songs by them. So
Nice. Well, if you had any interest, tomorrow they're doing an NFT drop, and we can kind of see how this works in function. So right now, this NFT drop, they're offering 20% of the streaming royalties for everything across every platform: Spotify, Apple Music. I don't know what else it might be. Tidal, if that's still a thing. So for $199, you can purchase tokens that represent 0.04% of the royalties. If you want to go to $4.99, you can get 0.15% ownership per token, and it guarantees you general admission tickets to a Triton show of your choice, as well as exclusive content. And then if you want to spend $1,000, you can have 0.4% of that royalty, and you get VIP tickets, backstage access, 2 general admission tickets, as well as exclusive content. So the utility in this is that not only do you collect royalties on a monthly basis for having these NFTs, but it also gives you exclusive perks with these artists as well. And the other great thing it does, it leaves 80% of the royalty to actually go to the artists. So it is really transformational stuff, and you should check it out tomorrow. I think this is a little outdated. I think it's tomorrow at 3 o'clock if you had any interest. But if I happen to purchase one of these and I decided I'm not that interested, it was something I bought hastily, they're transferable. You can sell them on OpenSea. They're NFTs that you can list anywhere, and they have gone for these specific prices. So they're working with a lot of different artists that are doing different kind of NFT drops. When we look at some of their competitors in the space, Royalty Exchange is actually the world's largest royalty marketplace, and that has its own integrated exchange with very, very unique listings. One that I saw, it was Jamie Foxx vocal credits from 2000 to 2005. So it was any song that he had written or any vocal performance he had over that time span, you could purchase into the rights for that. And it acts sort of similar to a bond in that sense, if you can think about that. It was listed for $20,000. It's been paying out $2,000 annually for the last 15 years, and it fully appreciates, and the contract goes away in 15 years. So the marketplace can price exactly what that would, in theory, go for, depending on what kind of a market risk rate there is. So if that's similar to a bond in that sense, you can invest in music in the same way now that you could invest in a more traditional stock market offering. SongVest, it does something very similar, and they're actually led by the ex-CEO of Royalty Exchange, which I thought was interesting. And one thing that they do that is very interesting, they also have their own integrated exchange with advances, and you can retain ownership with a loan that pays itself off. So if I was to purchase that Jamie Foxx vocal credit for $20,000, I could get a loan for $5,000 as long as I deposit the royalties. And the royalties that I would have collected is what pays off that loan over time, if that makes sense. Pretty incredible stuff. So you can use these royalties not only as an income stream, as a way to invest in your favorite artists, but you can also use them as collateral toward getting funding. I mean, think about if you're an independent musician and you had a big song that you minted and it went great, but you're strapped for cash. You could list the royalties from that song to facilitate a loan that could help you develop your next album or your next release, or maybe help you go on tour or something like that. So it opens up the opportunities for independent artists a lot. Any questions on kind of the music industry in general and how these all intersect?
So I'm just wondering if an artist was signed to a label, would they not make it so that you're not allowed to do something like this? Because they would own your songs.
So oftentimes that is the situation that artists face themselves in. I mean, so when I discussed that you get 80% of those royalties, that's after That's after it's already been taken by the record label. So what this hopefully in the future will allow artists is, the reason that record labels exist is they're needed to market songs, they're needed to list them, they're needed to upfront give you money to facilitate. But oftentimes people nowadays can make songs on their computer, on their laptop. You can release them on different platforms yourselves. We don't need these massive bloated record labels to be the middlemen leeching money from creators anymore. You can produce your own music, you can market yourself on your Instagram, your socials, and then you can list your singles as NFTs on the platform that you want.
On that same line of questioning, Scotty, if you had to guess, how do you think this is going to impact Apple or Spotify's business models? Would they take like 30%?
Yeah, I don't think that it will necessarily erase them, because I think what we can relate this back to the video game industry and how free-to-play games are the dominant revenue generator for all these big companies. Oftentimes you'll be giving away the content to people to get them engaged, to get them having fun, and then on the back end you offer exclusive ownership such as skins or guns, or in this case you offer the music for close to free, as Spotify and as these streaming platforms do nowadays. But on the back end you can offer this exclusive ownership that people can brag about with their friends, or have a Twitter handle. I'd love to have a music NFT as my profile picture on Discord or something like that.
Isn't Spotify already kind of hopping on the bandwagon of having like NFTs?
I think they are, and it'll be really interesting to see how they kind of all shake down in this way. Yeah, very interested to see the future of the industry for sure. Anything else we had thought about? So I guess the larger thing that I'm looking at is how much this business model innovation is truly transforming things. When we often talk about to be transformational, you can't just be 5 or 10% better or even 20% better. You need to be twice or 3 times as good, and that's exactly what this has the opportunity to do. When we look at the traditional record industry model, you can see that record labels are taking roughly 70% of all the revenue of music, leaving 20% for the streaming services and 10% for the musicians. Obviously, these are rough estimates, and there's lots of different sources, but this is more or less the distribution that we can see. When we transform it and we give the power back to the artist to mint NFTs and to own their own resources, musicians can take 70% of their record labels. I mean, look at the example we saw in that one single that is being released. They're getting 80% of all the proceeds from these royalties, leaving 10% for the record labels, completely flipping things, and then 15% to streaming services, with services like Royalty Exchange and Songfest being able to take just 5 to 10% for facilitating the network effect.